everybody, it's Colleen here, and welcome to the next installment in the deck pairings series. And today I am looking at deck pairings with the beautiful Crystal Visions Tarot by Jennifer Galazzo. So I've got a couple of decks which I think go pretty well with it. We've got the Wisdom of the Oracle, which is a Colette Baron-Reid deck. We've got the Universal Wisdom Oracle cards by Toni, Carmine, Salerno. We've got, let's pop those over there so you can still see the sides. We've got the Faerie Guidance Oracle by Paulina, Cassidy. You may know her from the Spirit Song Tarot. And then we've got the Animal Wisdom Tarot by Brunke. So quite a few there. All of these have very soft white pastel colors, and the images just look really nice together. So let's start first with the Wisdom of the Oracle. So I will just also say I have trimmed the white borders off my Crystal Visions. They normally they're a little bit squarer, and they normally have a white border, but I trimmed those off, and the cards are much nicer without the borders. So what I'll do is I'll pop that there to remind you that that's the Crystal Visions. Hopefully my camera will come back to me. What have I done with my Wisdom of the Oracle here? Okay, here is the Wisdom of the Oracle. I never did understand the backs of these cards. Let me just see if I can get the camera to come back. I'm so sorry. Gets its knickers in a knot. Now you can already see how beautiful the colors are. I mean, they just look so pretty. But you see what I mean, how I never understood the backs. These cards are all so beautiful and soft and gentle, and this red just anyway, that's not a deck review. Okie dokie, so let's go through and see what you think of the Crystal Visions and the Wisdom of the Oracle. Ooh, Queen of Wands and Orphaned. That's interesting. So these oracle cards don't have a little phrase, they just have a, well, sorry, they don't have a little paragraph underneath, they just have a single word or a phrase. Sometimes it's easy to read into that phrase and sometimes not, but it does come with a little guidebook if you want to look into, you know, more about what that specific meaning means. That would be nice against a blue card, but it doesn't always work out like it, does it? There is a bit of blue here in the middle. Now there's interesting combination, because like happy is not something I think about when I think about the Hierophant. I don't think it's a bad card, it's just, you know, it doesn't fill me with joy. It just fills me with, okay, you know, knowledge, learning, and yeah, anyway. Now that's interesting. Look, come to the edge and look how she's sitting on the edge of that little cliff. It's almost fool-like, isn't it? But you see she's got this light here. Yeah, lovely. And see how beautiful that would go if it were accompanied with the Fool, because she's also kind of jumping off the edge, isn't she? And those two go nicely together. Observer. Observer in the sun. Look at that. Lovely. Horse is looking at the fox going, what on earth are you doing? Sun and moon as well. Nice opposites there. Five of Pentacles and the tribe. It's almost like here they're not part of the tribe and therefore they're feeling excluded. Queen of Swords, Unfinished Symphony. Wow. Knight of Swords, a change in the wind. They work really well together, since the Knight of Swords is always the one that's charging around. I mean, I know the Knight of Wands charges around as well, but this specifically, you know, a change in the wind. You know, speaking of air element, and you've got this zebra / horse. There's poetic license for you. King of Swords, not for you. Oh, is that a relationship message? Or is it this attitude is not for you? In other words, stop being so overly analytical and opinionated. Yeah, this is not for you. No place like home, with Judgment. Love that. Oh, you all know how I feel about penguins. How lovely then. How lovely. And this is great because this is my tarot card of the year as well. Strength card. So lovely to come up with the penguins as soulmates there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The Chariot and building blocks. You know, there's a very distinct message with the Chariot of you know, actually making an effort to do something, to take those reins, to steer your life. So I like this being matched with building blocks, because again, it's that same you having to place those blocks where you want them to be. It's very much kind of taking control of a situation and making things, you know, how you want them to be, instead of allowing things to happen to you. Wonderful message. 10 of Wands is time for a nap. Absolutely. Look how this is going up here. You can just almost see that, you know, when he gets to the top of this hill, this incline, he's just going to have a snooze now because he's pretty tired. 8 of Swords, when you're having that 8 of Swords moment, what would help? It would help for someone to give you a leg up, someone to give you some help. Lovely. So yes, you know, you get a good idea about how nicely those would work. Visually, they would have also looked nice, yes, with the borders, the white borders around these cards, because they would have matched perfectly the borders around these cards, but I still think they go beautifully together, even without the borders. So that's the crystal visions with the wisdom of the oracle. Let's have a look at the Fairy Guidance Oracle. Now, this is a beautiful deck by Paulina Cassidy. If you are aware of Paulina Cassidy's artwork, she has this beautiful, kind of very whimsical way of illustrating her cards. And all the decks and all the decks that she's created have the same artwork. Now, some of them don't do very well photographically over the internet, because you really need to take them in your hand and look at them. These aren't so full on, but you'll see when I do some of the other deck pairings that I use the Spirit Song Tarot, which is one of hers, and it's just full. Each page, each card is just absolutely full of little doodles and things, and it doesn't always work so well on screen. But anyway, we'll see how it goes here. I think this pairing works well just because the Crystal Visions has a very gentle energy, and you know, the fairy guidance, these are all pretty cute little fairies. And sometimes these messages you know, work really, really nicely with the card itself. I mean, nurturing and Queen of Cups, look at that. Keep your inner child nurtured and you will thrive with vitality. And look, they're even kind of looking at each other. Strength and 8 of Cups. Strength is born from the will of the heart. The heart, cups, water element. You see how those two tie perfectly together. 9 of Swords and meditation. Meditation will bring you clarity of mind and a sense of inner peace. I love that. I love that, because that's so not what is normally happening in this card, but maybe it's saying that if you did more of this, you wouldn't always end up with this kind of situation. The world and intuition, beautiful. Behold the world with new eyes, which you will do when you're in love. You always see things differently, don't you? Beautiful. Ace of Cups, enlightenment. Six of Cups, spirit. Seven of Cups, love. Let's do a couple of these. Courage is found in the power of the heart's truth. Choice. You're in control of the choices set before you. Wonderful. Patience. Greet each moment with endurance and presence of mind. I love this pairing. It's very sweet. Very, very sweet. Look at that. Ten of Swords. Confidence is having the belief in yourself to keep you going, and the self-assurance to get you there. Beautiful. So that's the Crystal Visions with the Fairy Guidance Oracle. I think they work really well together. Very, very sweet combination. Okay, the next one is the Universal Wisdom Oracle cards. So there's the card backs. And bear with me because bizarrely, some of these cards are horizontal and some of them are vertical. Now, this is one of those oracle decks that you can't always just pick up the meaning of the card by looking at the name on the card. So you would have to actually look up what that meant. You could read the picture intuitively, although, you know, there might not be enough to go on there, but, you know, see how you go. But I mean, the colors there are beautiful, both with their eyes closed. There's already a similarity there. Raphael, Archangel of Healing, Two of Pentacles. Page of Cups. Those colors are absolutely beautiful together. The Universe, Ten of Cups. Even though they're different colors, they still look pretty together because they're all that kind of soft muted tones. Oh, Dreaming Heart and King of Cups. They go really nicely together. Look at those colors. Oh my gosh. Power and the Devil. Yes. Incredible. Release and Five of Cups. See, I don't know what that is without looking it up. Acceptance, Five of Cups. Acceptance, Page of Swords. Beautiful. No More Wounds. Intention and Wheel of Fortune. Oh, I love this kind of globe there and this round shape there, and there's another one here. Autumn Leaves, Ten of Pentacles. The Moon and Love. Beautiful. It's another one I'd have to look up. To that green one and see what that's. Eight of Pentacles. Luna. Where's our moon card? There we go. Creativity. Purity. So, you know, at first glance they may not seem to match, but actually they match in a lot of ways. There's a very definite masculine, feminine. Here is rules and structure and, you know, organization and boundaries. And here there seems to be that much softer focus on sort of energy or perhaps emotions, just because the feeling you get seeing in the woman's body. Lovely opposites there. The Lovers in meditation. Oh, look how that echoes the wings. You know, what do wings mean for you? It's freedom, it's feeling light, it's spiritual realm. Here, butterfly transformation. Here, there's also an element of transformation with the High Priestess as you kind of learn on your spiritual journey, get to know your inner spiritual self. Beautiful. So yeah, so that's also a great pairing. I think they work really nicely together. Although, like I mentioned earlier on, these card labels might, you might need to look those up because it doesn't always, it's not always self-explanatory. But nonetheless, I think the decks work really nicely together. So that's the Universal Wisdom Oracle cards. Let's just put these back in a pile. Okay, so the last, whoopsie, banged the camera into submission. The last pairing is the Animal Wisdom Tarot. So I've spoken before about if you haven't worked with two different tarot decks before, please don't worry. There's no problem with it. You just read the cards as per normal. Let's just bring my camera back. You can combine the energies. You can decide which one is the primary deck and use the other one as a backup. So in other words, this is your focus and this is a sort of a support card, if you like. It's entirely up to you. So here we're bringing in animal energy now, and there are quite a few cards in this deck that have animals in them, so you could incorporate that or you could choose not to. Entirely up to you. All encompassing, and I'm just looking at her pregnant belly here. Fossils are pentacles in this deck, but you may have gathered that. Penguin! I just can't remember. I think the seer, oh, I've forgotten. I think the seer might be Queens. I can't remember. It's one of the court cards. I can't remember. There. Wow, 2 justice cards. I love it when that happens. That's really freaky, but always really good. Here we have the bearer of justice, and here we have the justice card. Now look how she's standing looking at the elephant, and the elephant's looking at her, and totally I would read into that. Totally, you could read those 2 cards together. Double justice, fantastic. It's almost like it's showing the 2 scales of the stereotypical justice card, isn't it? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I did shuffle these. Well, you saw I mixed those ones up, right? Okay, so Magician and Hanged Man, or Master of Suspension. Earth Father or Emperor. The Star. Feathers are swords because they air element. Wonderful. I just think they work really well. The colors, the artwork. I love that Heart Awakener. So it's not Lover's card, it's Heart Awakener. Beautiful. Which is the Tower card. Is she seeing that tower destruction in her crystal ball? What do you think? Just flip through some of them like that so you can see. shells of cups in this deck. Beautiful. I think the seekers are the knights. It makes sense for the knight energy. This is the strength card, or ruler of the open heart. And wheel of fortune. Now you've seen in this deck there have been a few lions, so you can see how, you know, if you get that kind of double lion energy, see if we can find one. Probably now that we look for one we won't find one. It's normally in the wands cards, I think. There we go. You know, if you had, oh, that's the strength card. Okay, but you know what I mean. Let's find one that's not the strength card. Otherwise, it looks like I've put it there for a reason. So there you go. So you have two lions, and in fact, that would make a fantastic combination. I mean, you know, strength and the Queen of Wands just on their own, a very powerful, very strong, very determined force. If you think about the meanings of those two cards. But here we have very similar images as well, which is fantastic. Here we have the woman standing, the lion seated. Here we have the woman seated and the lion standing. Fantastic opposites. You'd read into that. Beautiful, beautiful combination. And certainly in that, if you were doing an animal-based reading, you would know now that there was lion energy there. This judgment card. Beautiful. So that is the Crystal Visions with the Animal Wisdom Tarot. Artwork not quite the same, but I think it's near enough to work. You could use it for specifically for if you were doing animal readings. You could use this as your main deck and use the Crystal Visions as your kind of your backup or your support card. Or if you were just doing, you know, normal readings, you would use that and then use this as the backup, you know, giving the animals a voice, if you like. Those two cards together. So there you go. So that is the Crystal Visions Tarot paired with the Wisdom of the Oracle, the Fairy Guidance Oracle, the Universal Wisdom Oracle cards, and the Animal Wisdom Tarot. What did you think of those pairings? Is it a 1 for rubbish, or is it a 10 for match made in heaven? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers for now. Bye.